Hi friends, welcome to my channel. Welcome if you're new, welcome back if you've been here before. Everyone's really welcome here. I'm following on today with the Tarot de Luz explorations. So I've done a walkthrough of the deck, I'll link that below, and I've also looked at the elemental associations of the court cards. So I'll link that one below as well. So now I thought I'd share with you how I look at the deck, or any deck that I get or am interested in, how I look at it sort of numerologically. That's a difficult word to say, numerologically. So I thought, well, I'd demonstrate it with this deck and see if it works, because it doesn't always. And so what I've done here is I've written out a little chart. I don't know if you can see that. See if I can zoom in on it a bit. And this is how we can, if you want to, reduce our numbers. So if we look at numbers 1 through 10 and reduce them down, then an ace, a 10 and 19 all relate, because 1 and 0 is 1, ace is 1, 1 and 9 is 10 is 1. Again with 2, the 11 and 20, so 2, 11 is 1 and 1 is 2, and 20, 2 and 0 is 2, and so on. So on the first 4 cards here we get 3 cards that combine together, or can do. So if we look at it, say, I'll just show this up a bit here. So all the aces and all the 10s, they are assigned, if you like, to the Magician, the Wheel and the Sun, because those are the cards. So the Magician is number 1, the Wheel of Fortune, is card 10, and the Sun is card 19. So with the 2s it would be the High Priestess. Now with the 2s and the 8s, there's a little bit, it depends on the deck, because in some decks Justice and Strength are swapped. In some decks it's an 8, in some decks it's an 11. So depending on the deck, you choose which card you're going to work with. So in this case, 11. So whichever card falls at number 11, if that's the Strength or if it's Justice, that's the card. Hope that makes sense. Makes sense to me anyway. Yeah, okay, and so on and so forth. So I've written them out there. If you want to screenshot it, you can. But I thought we'd look at it with this deck here. So the Fool is a bit of one on its own, really, because you can reduce, well, the Fool comes in at 0, but it also comes in at 22, because it's both the first card in the Major Arcana and the last. So, and also it goes all the way through anyway, doesn't it? But yeah. So we can assign that to 22, which would be 4. So that would be the Emperor and Death. That's interesting, isn't it? The Emperor and Death. So I'll come back to that when we get to the end. Okay. For now, I'm going to start with the aces. So the aces, we have the Magician, Wheel of Fortune, and the Sun. So I might have to zoom out here to show. Hopefully you can see all these cards. It's a bit difficult to get everything on screen, but giving it a good go. So here we go. So all the aces are assigned to these 3 majors in a numerological way. So immediately the first thing I can see is this eye here on all of the aces, is the eye underneath the Magician. That's the first thing I see. The other thing I note, anyway, is that all 4 suits are on the Magician's table. So we have the Wand, we have the Cup, we have the Sword, and we have the Pentacle. So they're all there. So that's one way of looking at it. The Wheel of Fortune. Well, the way I can see the Wheel of Fortune in the aces is the fact that the wheel has turned. So we've previous to this, come to the end of the tarot journey, and now we're starting once again. So that wheel has turned all the way around, and here we go again. So I see that. And the Sun card, it's a new day. Maybe just see it that way. It's a new day, it's a new start, it's a new dawn. Yeah, maybe just see it that way. By the by, if anyone's got any thoughts on any of this, please put it in the comments below, because I'm just open to all ideas and suggestions, because I think this is all so fascinating. Right, go on to the twos. So here we have our twos. So how do they relate to the High Priestess, Strength and Judgment? Well, here I'm seeing this figure who looks lost in this forest, actually rising above and seeing a different perspective, a different way, a clearer way, and hearing a call there with the Judgment card. Finding direction by listening to our higher self, listening to the call. Sort of see that there. Two of Cups with the hearts. Well, we have a nice connection here with these two figures. So this is our inner psyche, if you like, that we're coming to terms with. So I see that as sort of the two sides of ourselves reflected in both cards, integrating all aspects of ourselves, the light and the shadow. And I think that's what those two cards sort of combine, sort of speak to. High Priestess is sort of about hidden knowledge, because we don't know what's behind the veil. And in this Two of Pentacles, we don't know what's in this here. I presume is an egg. We've no idea what's inside until it's revealed to us, and at the moment this isn't revealed to us. The High Priestess hasn't revealed what's in there. So I sort of see that. The Two of Wands is sort of a conquering card. So here our light and shadow side being in harmony means we have conquered that fear, if you like, or that side of ourselves that we're afraid of, that side of ourselves that we have buried, maybe. We're going to conquer it, and we're going to be in fullness of who we actually are. So that's sort of how I'm seeing that. This is just the first thoughts. I mean, I haven't delved deep. I'm just looking at it straight off. And these are my initial thoughts. And I like to do that. Just straight off, look at it, see what I see. Because sometimes that is the clearest picture you get, really. Anyway, let's look at the threes. Right, so let's have a look at these then. So in our threes, we have the Empress, the Hangman and the World. So how do they correlate? Well, with the Three of Wands, we're branching out, aren't we? We're going out into the world, leaving our comfort zone, going in search of excitement, So in doing so, I think the Hangman can tell us here that we will never look at life the same way again. Once we've explored our mountains, we've gone through the portal, if you like, and left the comforts of the life we've known to explore and adventure out into a world. We won't look at the world the same way again, because our viewpoint will have changed. Here in the Three of Cups, then, yeah, that's being in the world really with our friends and our loved ones and celebrating life. And our world dancer is, yes, dancing with life. And I think that correlates really well there, doesn't it? Because that's when our heart is wide open and we're having a lovely time and we've got no worries and we're feeling good. Whereas in the Three of Swords, we're not feeling quite so good, are we? We've got volcanoes erupting there. Yeah, we're not in a happy place here. Our thoughts are going round and round and round, and maybe the Empress can help us in those times. The Empress, that mother nurturing sort of energy, is there for us when times are difficult, shall we say, when we think that we're being betrayed or we're being hurt, or when we have those thoughts going round and round our head, would have, should have, could have, why didn't I do this, why didn't I say that? Those thoughts that the very negative loop that we can sometimes get into. And I can see a loop here. And the Three of Pentacles, well, that looks like building a foundation, you know, building something that we can grow from, because we've got the flower here at the top. So clearly this has taken some time to get there, but it's worth the journey to actually get there. And there again, we can see the world from a different point of view. We can see it from high up now instead of from down on this path here, if we've managed to climb up. And we can see the beauty of the world from the perspective there. And of course, Mother Earth. Beautiful. Okay, let's have a look at the fours. So our fours, which are all about stability, aren't they? So the fours, here we've got the snake biting its own tail. And it's actually formed a barrier. And it's very dark in there, isn't it? It's a very dark energy there. It feels sort of stuck. And stuck energy really relates to a death card. Even one as lovely as this one, which is death of the ego. So, yeah, I can sort of see the way those two relate there. This one, the Four of Cups, they seem very entangled here. Maybe they can't move because they've become so entangled that they can't break free, possibly. And the Emperor is very controlling. So maybe this could talk about a controlling sort of relationship where someone wants to actually leave and, you know, they've got bored with the relationship and looking for something new, whereas the other one is trying to hold them back because they see it as death of the relationship. They see it as the death of the relationship because they want something more. And the Emperor is an archetype that is looking for control and leadership of themselves and of others. So I think that sort of, yeah, really goes. And here in the Four of Swords, this flower's closed up. If you read Marseille, I think this one would speak to you a little bit, because this is a very closed up image. There's no growth here. There could be, but not yet. There's no growth there. And again, we've got that sort of stuck energy, haven't we, that leads to atrophy, going nowhere. And of course, in the Four of Pentacles, then that is a very stuck energy. That is holding on to your resources, really through fear, I think, you know. So how can you grow any further? This tree has grown as much as it can, and the next step for this tree is to shed its leaves and to decay. So I think that goes well with it. So I think there's a warning there that from the Emperor energy that, you know, you stay in this situation, then you can't grow. There's nowhere to go. You're stuck. You can't be a fool. It is time to actually go off and do something else. And I think this is what this one here is looking to do. It's looking to leave this situation and be a fool once more. And maybe it would be foolish to leave the situation. Who knows? Okay, initial thoughts on the four. Have a look at the fives. So for the fives, we've got the Hierophant and Temperance. So established teachings, established dogma, and balance. So how are those depicted in the fives? Because as we know, fives are all chaotic energies. So here, strangled apple means we're really out of balance. And I think actually all of the fives are out of balance. And I think Temperance is just trying to rebalance those energies. So we can look to Temperance to try and find the middle way when we are feeling out of balance, when we can't reach where we need to reach. The Hierophant here is like a gatekeeper. He has the knowledge and he deems it, whether you're worthy or not of that knowledge. And I can see that there. If your heart's desire is a few steps away from you, the Hierophant is saying to you, not yet, you're not ready. You aren't ready to receive this yet. The Five of Swords, very difficult card. Again, I think it's just about trying to find balance and learning the lessons in life. You know, learning what will bring you grief, really, and learning to go beyond that. So I think, you know, we need to look to the Hierophant to help guide us there. Five of Cups. This is the Grief card. Again, trying to come back into balance, because we have periods where we do grieve, and it's important to grieve and to go through that process and then grow through that process. And we've got the growth here in Temperance and the lessons learned. And I think that's what happens here with the Five of Wands. It's lessons learned, and you can't go forward until these lessons have been learned. And yeah, that's what I'm sort of seeing there. Okay, let's have a look at the sevens. I mean sixes. I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's have a look at the sixes. I think in a lot of Rider-Waite-Smith type decks, we're used to seeing the Lovers in the Devil card, which we actually don't see in this deck. Six of Wands, which is usually the Victory card. Maybe the Devil is a warning that victory comes at a price, and we can get attached to that feeling of winning. And maybe we shouldn't get too attached to, and there's the Lovers as well being attached. So being too attached to the outcome at any price, you know, getting victory no matter the cost. So that these could be a warning to the Six of Wands. The Six of Cups here, the Nostalgia card, looking forward, looking back. Maybe the Lovers is saying just enjoy the moment for what it is. You know, don't let past hurts inform your decisions this time around, because, you know, there are devils out there, including ourselves. So yeah, I think that's a little bit of a warning there, to integrate instead of separate, as we do here with the Lovers. Six of Swords. Interesting, you know, these Six of Swords, they're actually taking sustenance from this here sword pointing down. So we've got 1, 2, 3 swords pointing down. We have 1, 2 swords pointing up. So where is the sixth sword? Because I can't see it. Although I see growth from the brow. That one's puzzling me a little bit. So we can't always find these synchronicities. But sometimes they're there. And sometimes you're just not seeing them, and maybe I'm just not seeing them. But I'm not seeing it in that. Okay, Six of Pentacles. That's when we're giving and receiving. So I like that in relation to the Lovers, giving and receiving. Because that doesn't take anything away from one person, giving to another. It actually enhances both. These chains are really interesting, you know, how this devil is he chained to the world? Maybe he can't escape worldly pleasures. Maybe that's what that means. Which could relate here, as I said, you know. Or if this is this a moon? I mean, I'm not sure if this is the world or the moon, because the colours would sort of indicate the moon. So if the devil is chained to the moon, then the devil is chained to illusion. So maybe that's saying that this isn't real. This is an illusion. This is a fairy tale that we just cannot achieve long term. Hopefully we can, but, you know, maybe this is what this is saying, or the devil inside is saying. So that's possible. So yeah, that could point to the illusion in this card, that victory is everything at any cost. Or this could be the illusion that we think this is a whole unit, whereas in fact they're splitting off. Well, I can go down rabbit holes with these, you know. Okay, sevens. And we have the Chariot and the Tower. Let's see how these line up then. So the Seven of Wands is about being quite defensive. And the Tower is a defensive structure. But if we defend our viewpoints, here we are being challenged. That defence is being challenged. And normally we see the Tower toppling down. So I can sort of see that relationship there. The Chariot. Things are coming at you very fast, maybe, because the Chariot is quite a fast card. And directing the will. So here this individual is directing the will by defending themselves and their ideals with their own willpower. And here, this is controlling our will so that we can move forward. 7 of Cups is the wish card. So maybe we're building castles in the air that are just illusions and will just come tumbling down. This isn't achievable. To have everything you want, you need to actually focus towards what is really important to you. So I think that's where the Chariot sort of comes in there. Makes sense to me. Sneaky Pete. So 7 of Swords. You'll be found out, maybe, and then your whole world will come toppling down because you're going to be found out. Try and run away, but yeah, you usually see the thief sneaking away, and here we have travel as well. So maybe that correlates, maybe. And the Peace Dove here in the 7 of Pentacles, you know, taking a pause out. Then I would say that our peace has really been shattered, and to be mindful that it can be shattered very, very easily. What we think is stable isn't. You know, it's not built on firm foundations. I don't think any of these 7s are built on firm foundations. In fact, the 7s are quite a difficult number anyway in the tarot. So that's my thoughts on the 7s. Let's have a little look at the 8s. So for our 8s, we have Justice and the Star in this deck. As I said before, it could be Strength if it's in that sort of system, numbering system, but in this deck, 8 is Justice. So we'll go with that, shall we? Okay, so what have we got here? 8 of Wands, which is the fast-moving card. Well, a star can explode really fast, can't it? Interesting in the actual imagery that here we've got the sun, the moon, and then we have a star. So it's very astrological there, isn't it? So that's nice the way those are. And the balance here is echoed here. This lemniscate, Ouroboros. So yeah, balance there. I see that. 8 of Cups. Well, this is, I would say, weighing up what matters to us here. We're weighing up what brings us joy and whether to stay or whether to go. So it's actually making a decision there, isn't it? And then cutting those ties if we need to. With the Justice sword, we're just cutting free and reaching for our dreams, what it is we wish for. The 8 of Swords. The 8 of Swords is when we think we're trapped, but we're not. And I like the depiction here because this one is sort of a blindfold. The eyes are closed, but the third eye there is wide, wide open. So that's sort of an inner knowing there. And our Justice is blindfold as well. And going inside to actually make decisions. And of course, Justice and Swords, they sort of go together really well, don't they? Because, you know, it's all about the mind and just weighing up those facts without the emotional context, if you like. So I think those go really well. I like the shell there. And our 8 of Pentacles. 8 of Pentacles is sort of reward for hard work. So again, we're looking at the facts here. This hard work that's gone on here is to achieve an ambition, a dream, and recognising that to get there we've actually got to put the work in, and this is the reward. And yeah, so I like that. And also, you know, it's been balanced and found in favour. Yeah, the verdict is in favour. Okay, so 9s. Let's do the 9s. Okay, so let's have a look at the 9s, the Hermit and the Moon. I love this Moon card because it shows the Moon's influence on the tides. So it's great. Love that. And we've got the Hermit's lamp here. So let's have a look how we can link these cards. So 9s are all about the culmination of the suit. So here we've got the 9 of Wands and what looks like the phoenix rising out from the fire, being reborn. So the sun sort of glyph there is echoed and illuminating clarity. We see the light, we know now. We're no longer in illusion, we're no longer under the influence of the moon. We actually can see clearly. And of course, you know, fire lights things up, doesn't it? You can actually see, as does a lamp. 9 of Cups is our happiness card. We usually see the guy with his arms, you know, very, very sure of himself, very happy in front of all his cups. Here we have some sort of creature. I'm not quite sure what it's supposed to be, actually. Not sure. It doesn't really look like a butterfly or a moth, or I'm not sure what it is, but it's left the ground here. There's a snake which sort of speaks to transformation, so maybe it's a transformation again, seeing the light after being unclear. We now have risen up, so that sort of echoes the rising there, maybe. The 9 of Swords, here we have the same sort of sun again. It's usually quite a problematic card. It's the Nightmare card, and the Nightmare card obviously does speak to the moon, doesn't it? Because, you know, those twilight hours when the world seems menacing, maybe, or yeah, when your thoughts go whirling round in the middle of the night. But here we've got a sun glyph, but one eye open, one eye closed. So we're sort of in subconscious and conscious there, both. So maybe it's our choice of which way to go. Subconscious or conscious. So in the 9 of Pentacles, we normally see the lady in the garden, and he is very self-contained, because we see her garden is contained and she's achieved everything she wants to achieve and she's in a happy place, and this is a happy place, self-contained. And we have a sunflower, maybe. Is it? And a butterfly? It's hard to see, really. But yeah, that's the self-made, contented card. So yeah, we've come out of our emotional fears, and actually we've achieved everything we want to achieve, and we've been clear about it, and we've gone for it, and we've achieved it. So maybe that's where the 9s are. And our 10. So here we are at the end of the minor suits, and the wheel has turned, and let's go round again. I think that's what this one's saying. So the Magician has brought everything down into manifestation from the ether. The sun has shone a light on what we wanted to achieve, and here we are at the end of our journey, for good or for bad. So our 10 of Wands here. See, 2 of these cards look quite problematic and 2 don't. So it's always been a little bit of a puzzle, really, with the 10s. I mean, here in the 10 of Pentacles, this talks to ancestry and passing down everything that we've achieved to the next generation. So all the growth that we've had here is now available for those that come after. So that sort of speaks to the wheel turning. It speaks to the Magician actually manifesting everything that they wanted here on Earth. The 10 of Cups is the happy family card, again having achieved. I mean, normally we see a rainbow and a sun, and yeah, I mean, it's very a light card, and so the sun sort of does speak to that. And yet the wheel's turned once again, and just like the swords, it's generational. The 10 of Wands is normally about burden, and here we see this figure here is at the bottom of the wheel. So the wheel has turned here, but we're at the bottom, and this is very burdensome, but it's not forever, it's just for now. And that wheel will turn again, and we will see the sun again, and the Magician will help us. And then the 10 of Swords, another problematic card, but again we're at the bottom of the wheel, and the only way is up, and the only way is towards the sun, and the only way way is to manifest the shadow into the light. So yeah, that's my sort of initial thoughts on the correlation between the numbers here in the Minor Arcana. Now, that was real fun. I really enjoyed doing that. Maybe it's something you'd like to do as well with your decks, you know, because every deck is different, isn't it? And it's really nice to see if they do sort of line up and how they line up and how they're shown in that way. So yeah, enjoy your discoveries. I've enjoyed mine. Thank you again so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Okay, bye friends, bye.